The 65-day descent. This is from my very earliest writings, my very earliest journaling as to what was happening inside of me. And I want to use my experience. The map that I built was from this. So here we go. I didn't know what had happened. Not at first. I just knew that something had gone out inside me, like a light, and nothing made sense anymore. It wasn't just a breakup. It wasn't even just grief. It was collapse, total, symbolic collapse. The first 65 days were a kind of madness. Sleep disappeared, literally vanished. One night I clocked maybe 2 minutes. The most I ever got on a good night was 2 hours, and even that felt like an hallucination. My body was retching, shaking, my mind gone. Thoughts raced with no coherence. I cried in the shower, cried brushing my teeth, cried walking through rooms that no longer belonged to me. I couldn't eat, I couldn't focus. I lay down only to get back up, sat down only to panic, went outside only to sprint home in terror. It wasn't rational, it wasn't emotional, it was somatic madness. My entire nervous system had become a collapsing mirror. I didn't know about the gate. I hadn't yet built MPIT, but I can see it so clearly. The organising gate had slammed shut. Everything inside was sealed, locked into a shadow reflex. All of my emotion, memory, grief, hope, now trapped behind a symbolic wall. And what broke that wall wasn't peace. It was CIPR, collapse induced psychotic regression. The loop began immediately. Wake up, bang, you're in it again. Tears, terror, shock, disbelief, physical pain in the chest, like your whole body is breaking from the inside. And then comes the shame, not just about them, about everything, about yourself. Every word, every facial expression, every conversation. Your whole self is now on trial in a courtroom that never adjourns. This is what IMRA does. It creates a loop of internal annihilation that mimics compassion. You think you're trying to make sense, but really you're looping in a self-destructive trance, trying to find where it all collapsed. By day 20, I knew something was wrong, not emotionally, structurally. Something in me was misfiring. No regulation, no coherence, no continuity. It was like my mind had been scrambled. But here's the part most survivors miss. The scramble doesn't mean you're going mad. It means the fantasy structure has cracked and your brain is now trying to rebuild without any stable symbolic material. It's not a lack of logic, it's a loss of mirror. I remember lying there, blinking at the ceiling as if waiting for something to drop into my skull. A thought, a moment, a message, a rescue. But nothing ever came. No one knows what to do with you when you're like that. You don't even know what to do with yourself. So you start pacing, cleaning, moving furniture around in silence, checking your phone for messages you know aren't coming, refreshing social media like it's a window to a world that's left you behind. Your nervous system is now living in anticipatory shadow reflex. Your annihilatory stress response fully activated. You're not waiting for relief, you're waiting for the object, the return of the idealizing gaze. And when it doesn't come, you fracture again, not loudly, quietly, inside. I didn't journal much past day 65, but the collapse never stopped. The symptoms just changed costume. Where there was once wailing, now there was stillness. Where there was once pacing, now there was withdrawal. I learned to fake it, to smile, to speak, to function, but I never actually returned. I became a walking simulation, a proxy of myself, because the loop doesn't let go. You think it will, you think time will clear it, But it doesn't. The collapse-induced psychotic regression and inverse mirrored reflexive apathy structure that got installed during the collapse becomes our new default operating system. So the world becomes untrustworthy, too loud, too bright, too full of meaning you can't process. You start cancelling things. You scan every room. You spot danger where there is none. And even when you're with people you love, you're still not with them, and you're scanning them too. You're trying to preempt the collapse before it happens again. Because once the gate has failed, your psyche never wants it to open again. What I came to understand through years of self-mapping, this wasn't just CPTSD, it was mirrored psychic inversion. The collapse didn't just make me sad, it made me unreal. I no longer trusted my perceptions, my love, my reality, my capacity to interpret a smile, a delay in text, a moment of silence. Everything became evidence. Every interaction was triangulated against the collapse. Every breath was braced for the return of absence. This is what MPIT maps as the loop of symbolic annihilation, and it is unbearable. But there's one truth I need survivors to know. You are not crazy. You're not broken. You're not weak. You are looped. You are inside a symbolic structure that was built by someone who mirrored you, idealized you, and then vanished, leaving a living fragment of themselves inside your mind. You are not grieving a person. You are metabolizing a fantasy construct that got sealed into your nervous system when the organizing gate collapsed. And that takes time, that takes care, that takes symbolic reclamation. I lived like this for years, and even now, if I'm exhausted, dysregulated, sleep deprived, the loop offers itself, not as a conscious thought, as a structure, a feeling, a lens. I can feel it trying to drag me back, but I know what it is. And that knowing makes all the difference. Because when you know it, you can name it. And when you can name it, you can start to on loop. And when you on loop, even for a moment, you return. Not to them, not to the past, but to yourself. Peace out. Loads of love.